Why are there not more people talking about the rise of Alcaraz and Sinner? Could they be the next Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic? For nearly 2 decades, Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic have shaped tennis history. Their dominance is unparalleled, their legacies untouchable. But now, there's a new wave. Carlos Alcaraz, with 4 Grand Slam titles already, and Jannik Sinner, with 2, are making headlines. Alcaraz brings explosive energy and maturity beyond his years. Sinner, quieter but relentless, showcases formidable adaptability. With Federer retired and Nadal battling injuries, the stage is set for a new era. Fans face a bittersweet transition, but the excitement is palpable. Alcaraz and Sinner bring fresh dynamics to the court, hinting at a potential new rivalry. Could they be the big two of the future? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, tennis is entering an electrifying new chapter.
All right, so we're diving into the future of men's tennis today, and you brought this really interesting interview with a former pro, a post-Big Three world. Can you imagine?
It's wild to think about, right?
It is. I mean, Federer's gone, Nadal, who knows,
Yeah.
right? It feels seismic.
Yeah, no doubt. You can even hear it in the interview, actually. Like, the journalist, he kind of gets this, I don't know, almost a sad tone when they're talking about it. But
Yeah.
the former pro, though, he's like pumped. For him, it's not an ending. It's this whole new chapter, you know? And the players he's most excited about, Alcaraz and Sinner.
Yeah, he did not hold back.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just prospects anymore. Grand Slam winners, both of them.
For real.
4 for Alcaraz, 2 for Sinner already. It's insane.
It's huge. That's how you know it's not hype. It's the real deal.
Exactly. But you know what really got me?
So-
It wasn't even just the wins. It was the mental game he was talking about.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference, isn't it?
Mhm.
Between good and, like, all-time great.
Totally. He told this story about Alcaraz at the Barcelona Open final. So Alcaraz is down set point against Tsitsipas, right? And the expert, he's watching him, and he says you could just see it, this look in his eyes.
Oh, I bet.
Just laser focused, not even just trying to win the point, but to dominate the entire match. That kind of mental toughness, I mean, that's what separates the legends.
Like pressure-making diamonds, right? Or whatever they say. Some
Mm.
guys crack. These two, they thrive on it.
Totally.
Although he did say there's a difference in how they approach it, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So he compared Sinner to, get this, a young Djokovic.
Interesting.
Not so much the game itself, but the composure.
Ah.
Talked about Sinner's quarterfinal at Wimbledon this year, right? 2 sets down against Djokovic. And this guy, he doesn't even flinch. Keeps his cool, changes up his game plan, even takes a set off of him.
Wow.
That's the thing with Sinner. It's that adaptability, you know?
Uh-huh.
He figures it out.
It's funny. We're sitting here talking Big Three, their legacy, all that. And you can see these echoes, you know?
Yeah.
Alcaraz, he's got that Nadal intensity. And Sinner, that Djokovic composure. It's
It's like poetry almost, right? Like they're taking the torch, but they're making it their own thing, too.
right, exactly.
The expert, he even said he compared Alcaraz's energy on the court, like just the way he carries himself, to Nadal, he said. He said being on the court, Alcaraz has this like aura, this fearlessness, you know, like a young Nadal back in the day.
That's so interesting, though, because then he said something I didn't expect. He's not so sure we're going to see one guy just dominate again, even with these two.
Right, like he thinks the field is way too stacked now. He's talking about Tsitsipas, Medvedev. They've both been right there knocking on the door of Grand Slams.
For sure.
And then these younger guys coming up, Rune, all of them.
It's true. It feels different.
Totally different landscape, even compared to like 5 years ago.
So instead of one guy winning everything, maybe it's more, I don't know, more guys with a shot.
That's what he's saying. And he seemed pretty into that idea, actually. He talked about how that level of competition, it pushes everyone, you know?
Oh, I bet.
No more just cruising, not when you've got 4 or 5 guys who can win any tournament.
That's got to be intense for them, though, right? Like,
Okay.
even playing your best might not be enough.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where he said Alcaraz, that mental edge, it could be huge.
Yeah.
He said the guy's just like preternaturally calm. He actually remembered this Alcaraz quote. I thought it was good.
Was it?
He said, I go onto the court with a clear mind. I don't focus on the occasion. I focus on my game. I mean, come on, that's champion talk right there.
No kidding. Reminds me what he was saying about Sinner at Wimbledon, too, with Djokovic. Even down, never gave up.
Exactly. And that's the thing now, that resilience, you have to have it. It's not just talent anymore. It's who can handle that pressure, who can outsmart the other guy, you know?
He did seem to be leaning toward Alcaraz, though. If he had to pick one to break out, be the guy, what makes him different, even in a field like this?
He kept going back to the Grand Slam record. 4 wins, that young. Almost unheard of.
Wait, it's crazy.
But it's more than that, too. He said there's this fearlessness to how Alcaraz plays, taking risks, setting the pace, and this is where it gets interesting. It reminded him of, ready for this, a young Federer.
Really? I thought for sure he'd say Nadal again.
He did, the intensity, all that for sure. But the pure shot making, the creativity, that was Federer in his prime, is what he was saying. Even called Alcaraz, get this, a generational talent, and you know this guy doesn't throw that around lightly.
Wow.
Yeah, like serious praise.
Okay, so that's Alcaraz, potential heir apparent, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Power, precision, mental game, the whole package.
And Sinner right there with him, that grinder, always in it, always adjusting.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Don't forget the rest of them, though. Tsitsipas, Medvedev, Rune, these guys are for real. They're going to push Alcaraz and Sinner every step of the way.
It's almost overwhelming, isn't it? Like, how good it could be.
The next 10 years, man, it's going to be must-watch tennis.
I think so, too. But, you know, one thing he said that stuck with me, he talked about how this new era, maybe it won't be about just one guy or even like one big rivalry. Maybe it's about how deep the talent pool is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I remember he said, and I'm quoting here, "We may never see another trio like Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, but that doesn't mean this next generation can't be just as compelling. In fact," he went on, "the variety of styles, the intensity of the competition, it could make for a golden age of men's tennis."
It's exciting, right? Like, we're not just watching players, we're watching the whole sport change.
It's true.
A part of me still wonders about that big two thing, though. Alcaraz and Sinner. What would it take for them to really own this era the way the big three did theirs?
That's a high bar, for sure. You're talking about guys who didn't just win, they became icons, you know?
But
These rivalries were legendary. They were stories everyone was following.
Like Federer, Nadal, Wimbledon, '08. I mean, come on.
Exactly. That wasn't just tennis anymore. It was like, I don't know, this clash of styles, these whole different ways of approaching the game on the biggest stage possible.
Goosebumps, just thinking about it. So are we saying Alcaraz and Sinner need that one match, that epic battle to cement their legacy?
Well, it wouldn't hurt, that's for sure. And the expert, he seemed to think they've got the ingredients, you know, talked about how their games are almost opposites in a way. Alcaraz, all aggression, all over the court. Sinner's more controlled, strategic, picks his moments. He actually said, and this is going to sound crazy, he said their rivalry, if it goes the way he thinks it could be, get this, the Federer-Nadal of their generation.
Whoa, okay, that's a bold statement. But I kind of see it, though. The talent's there, obviously, but also the drive, the personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there, isn't it? Imagine, like, years from now, we're all talking about an Alcaraz-Sinner match. Some crazy U.S. Open final, 5 sets, down to the wire.
And just like that, they're legends.
Exactly. Even if they don't hit those heights, though, even if they don't become the next big two, I mean, men's tennis is in good hands.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
So to everyone listening, next time you're watching a match, pay attention. Watch these guys. Watch how they play. You might just be